Hello, hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Pro Physique Code. This is the lifestyle series today. This is Coach Christina, and I am joined by the lovely Coach Jess. How are you doing?
Hello, I am not fully recovered from food poisoning, but I am okay.
Recovering from that. That's
I'm
the word
alive.
too. Phil, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Definitely grateful that I don't have food poisoning. That is always just the absolute drizzling shits. I mean, I can't think of anything
For real though.
worse. Like, oh yeah, pun not intended, but now totally intended. No, like, dude, that really sucks, especially like we're coming out of Thanksgiving. Like, how did that go, by the way, with your dad coming in town, Jess?
Oh, it was so nice. It was so nice. I'm like gonna get emotional because I like we
Oh,
like we're BFFs. But thank God that I actually got sick like literally after he left.
have you been able
Um,
to narrow it down to what did it?
I have no idea. I have no idea. And I'm almost happier that way because then I don't have like some weird food aversion that like freaks me out. I'm like, okay, whatever it was, my dad wasn't sick, but we basically ate like I didn't eat anything abnormal, but
It might
whatever.
just be a virus going around. Like
Yeah.
there has been
Mhm.
like every version of holy fuck, I hope I don't get that is out right now.
Yep.
Like from stomach viruses to crazy, like just fever causing viruses that do nothing else. Like, so you might have just caught some crazy bug and it
I
worked its
know.
way through you nice and quick instead of like a whole
Oh my
week.
God. I mean, it was quick and it was rough. It was fast and rough. Let's
But that's my thing. I'd always
Giggity.
rather get like really sick for a
not a
really
good way.
short amount of time to be like hyper aggressive versus like something that's drawn out. Cause like I've had allergies now going on for like freaking months. And
Oh yeah.
all it takes is like one little change to the weather. And now like I got a little difference going on in my voice. And I'm like, ah shit, come
That's your
on. Let's just
30s, man. That's
oh
just
like every other aspect of my 30s I fucking love, but like the immune system finally like no longer living inside of an armored tank. I hate
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everything will start to like crack and things like that. Like you'll start making old man noises when you sit down.
Oh,
Oh,
yep.
I've been doing those
Ugh.
for a long time. Like, oh, well, let me just stand up.
And
Ah,
When
you're
I was
like,
a kid,
oh.
we could hear, we knew if our mom was coming upstairs and like we were doing something we weren't supposed to or whatever, like, it was like, oh, you better stop. We knew she was coming up the stairs because we could hear her ankles and her knees like crack as she
Oh my
would
God,
come up,
that's
like
funny.
pop. And I'll have days where that happens. And I'm like, oh God, I'm
Yeah,
at this point in my
I have
life.
I have an ankle that cracks all of the time. Like just all of the time. It's a tendon. I can find it and I'll hold my thumb on it. And it's whenever I squat, it's like this
yeah.
ankle dorsiflexion thing every single time. So whenever I'm going downstairs, whenever I'm squatting, like when I send video or like when I'm like posting videos of me squatting, every single time it cracks, it's fine.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the thing.
Your little sound effect.
I know.
Well, today this goes along with Jess feeling better. Um, Today we are talking about needing to like how to prioritize sleep, recovery, and I feel like there was some other aspect of it. I'm forgetting.
Downtime.
Downtime. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it goes along right along with it. Um, and I was actually just talking to a new client last week about this, where it was the day before Thanksgiving, and he was just asking a bunch of questions about kind of like how I approach stuff with clients. And part of it was how many rest days per week, like, do I suggest or mandate, was how he had asked. And I was, I don't mandate anything, but I'm talking about how many rest days. And oh my God, I just totally lost my train of thought. There was something else. And now I don't remember that he had asked
Downtime.
me, oh, what do you do when you're sick? He was like, I have a head cold. And like, would you want me to go to the gym or how should I deal with this? And so I went into like my suggestions about what to do if you're not feeling so hot, which like I kind of go along the lines of, I mean, if you like to, on the most simplest form, I'll say like, if you want to go work out, go work out. Like if you're sick and you still have that, but I wanna, well then like go do it and just pay attention to how you feel. If you think about it and you're like, oh, I might die, then obviously don't. But I've heard like, you know, it go around where if it's above the neck, then like have at it. You should be fine as long as it doesn't give you like a pounding headache. But once it's in your chest and you're like coughing nastiness up, or if you got food poisoning, things like that, probably not a good day to go
is like
deadlift.
a no-go for me.
Like
Yeah.
Like if I honestly, I feel like, so it's a hard line to draw, but personally, I would much rather have my clients take a rest day. Like I'm like, hey, I feel like there's this culture out there that it's like, or once you start working with a coach, or once you are on this health and fitness journey, it's this all or nothing mentality, and you always have to go train. You always have to make sure that you're like doing these things. I don't know. I maybe I have a little bit more like OCD clientele who is very much like me, in the fact that they're like, oh, well, oh, I always have to be doing something. Like I should always be doing. It's the should thing.
yeah.
And it's like this pressure that you put on yourself and that we kind of put on ourselves. And we see in the culture a lot of just like that grind mentality and no days off. And that can actually put you in not a great spot when you're actually needing to progress. And so like in terms of the sickness thing, if we're talking about sickness first, I'm like, if you have a fever, it's a no-go for me.
Oh,
you are
yeah.
not in the gym. If you are coughing, if you are sneezing, if you are like very like sniffly, whatever, you're out. If you think that you won't be able to go and give your best, which granted, your best is not always going to be 100%, like perfection is never the goal. But like, if you're not able to go into the gym and be like, yeah, I think I can really give it today, just take an extra rest day, chill out, hydrate, sleep a little bit more, hit your recovery macros or whatever macros they are, focus on nutrition and nutrients, and maybe moving your body in ways that are a little bit different, like recovery yoga or walking outside or stretching, or maybe practicing some more parasympathetic stuff. Because like, I think if on one hand, it's like, hey, if I feel like I can go and exercise, but I felt kind of off, but I feel like I can go train, that's great. Then go and do that and go and train. But sometimes it's almost like, I feel like I should go and train.
A case
and
of
we have that, and we have that mentality of like, oh, I feel like I should, so I'm going to anyways. And I'm more of the like, no, don't go. Like one day out of the gym, that's not going to make or break you. You're not going to lose gains. Like you're not going to gain 5 pounds. Like it's actually probably better for you, because then when you go into the gym, you can actually feel like, wow, I feel better, instead of just maybe even getting yourself sicker.
Well, because you could drag it out, right? With like
totally.
with what you said, where it's like if you're feeling that way and you're having the like, but shouldn't I go kind of thing, where you're fighting that, like, you know, you shouldn't be there, but you feel like, oh, but I'm gonna lose everything if I go. You could end up setting yourself back an extra week where
Totally.
like you're hacking up along and feeling terrible and you didn't allow your body that time. And so then you have to balance like, you know, 24 hours versus 7 days away from the gym, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the gym is not going anywhere is what I have to remind a lot of people of. Like, it's not like the fitness industry is about to go out of business. It's not like, you know, Planet Fitness is going to close down tomorrow, or YMCAs are going to suddenly become, you know, extinct like the dodo bird. Like the gym will be there. You can be there too, and you'll be there a lot sooner if you just prioritize some rest. Like Jess was saying, you're not going to lose your gains from missing a workout. Hell, you're not going to lose your gains from missing even a couple of weeks worth of workouts. Like our muscles have these things called satellite cells. You will 100% just get everything back. Like most of what you experience whenever you're sick and you get back to the gym, because like we've all gone through like a prolonged, you know, week or two of like I'm ill or I'm out of the gym for X, Y, or Z reason. Whenever you get back and you're having to use a little bit lighter weight or the weight feels heavy, that's just neurological adaptation. Your body's no longer adapted to that stimulus, but do it for 2 weeks and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So like,
or maybe you're dehydrated.
yeah, that's the
or
other.
you're probably, yeah, like, or like you haven't had enough sleep. Like,
I always talk about the neurological adaptation thing, like a road, like a dirt road. If you're not driving down it for like a long time, it's going to get like full of like the tumbleweeds, and then you're not going to see the tire tracks anymore and like things like that. And if you're driving down it consistently, then it starts to come like a little bit more packed. It's more of an obvious road, things like that. That's when we're working out routinely. You know, our dirt road looks nice. It looks like something you would want to drive down. And then you take that break and it gets a little bit like crazy, but all you have to do is get back at it and you'll start to see that road again. And like, so things might get heavy and they're going to feel funny because your body's like, oh God, we haven't done this in a while. But like, you literally just get back into your routine and you'll feel things are going to start to feel pretty smooth again really fast.
Yeah. I'm a big fan, like, you know, like y'all said, of just listen to your body as like the primary marker for what should you do whenever you're sick. Like, look, I've got a little like allergy thing going on right now. Luckily, I train in my garage. I
hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I
do hear it. You sound nasally.
Yeah, I mean the like permanent deviated septum definitely doesn't help, but you know, I train in my garage gym. I don't have to worry about if I'm coughing all over the place or anything like that. Like, I don't have any of that like social guilt of like, oh crap, I hope I don't get somebody sick. But like with this, yeah, I'm lowering the weight just a little bit because I can't breathe quite as well as what I did 2 days ago. So big deal. Like, I'm lowering the weight. I'm not going in there trying to ego lift. It's just going to literally be, hey, get in, move my body, you know, keep my muscles nice and loose, and just get in a decent workout with my heart rate up a little bit. You know, it's not like I'm trying to kill myself with cardio today. That would probably not be the wisest thing for me to do with lowered, you know, respiratory capacity right now. So it's just listening to your body. Like, if I wake up tomorrow and I feel worse, guess what? I'm going to push my leg day back by a day or two, because it's not going anywhere. It's still going to be there. The gains will still be had. Just rest up. Listen, like, you know, Jess, was it you that mentioned like the restorative yoga?
Yeah.
I love restorative yoga, especially.
Isn't it great?
It is. And like,
and people who are listening out there, it's not hot yoga, guys. It's literally you lie down and you like lie down and you breathe.
Hot yoga, not restorative yoga.
No,
oh my God.
It's not like vinyasa shit. It's like, hey, you sit in child's pose and then you breathe, like deep breathing 5 times, and then you like lie on your back and happy baby, and then you breathe deep breaths 5 times. It's like, it's so nice. It's like almost like guided meditation.
So that's the other thing that I like to do that really helps out with like bedtime routine. So if I'm sick, like, yeah, I'm probably just default for my actual like movement for the day. I'm not even going to say like workout, but my movement for the day is probably going to be the restorative yoga. But I also like meditative yoga before bed to help out with that sympathetic parasympathetic dominance.
Do you use anything like an app or something like that?
I just go on YouTube. I've got like 2 or 3 different ones that I'll just do like 5-10 minutes worth of the meditative yoga before bed, and I get into a deeper sleep. Whenever I was wearing any type of sleep monitoring device, every single time, like, you know, I'd get better recovery scores. I would spend more time in deep sleep. I'd spend more time, you know, in true like restful sleep versus, okay, if I only do like a heavy, like, let's say I do a heavy push day. If I don't do the meditative yoga before bed, my sleep is horrible. And I truly feel it the next day. So
you just like YouTube like restorative meditation?
Yep, meditative yoga. That's
cool.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different ones on there. And like I tell my clients, like, just find one that you like, that you start to kind of almost memorize yourself. So after like 3 or 4 times of doing it, you kind of know what to do, and you just more have it on for like background noise, not having to like double check and go, wait a minute, is she giving this a different name? Hang on. hang on. Okay. All right. So yeah, we call that Warrior One in DDP yoga. And let's move it. Okay. Now you have to like memorize new shit. So like try to find the ones with like the names that you are also familiar with. So it's just less having to think about it and more just doing it.
Yeah, you want something that's like more familiar and calming to you. I agree, because like I've used so I've tried the Calm app, I've tried Headspace. So Headspace is more like guided meditation, which was okay when I was doing it, but I couldn't get into a habit of doing it. And then Calm was more just, yeah, like you could just throw it on and it would take you through some things. But the Aura Ring, and I don't know about the Whoop, Christina, but like the Aura Ring also on its app has like guided meditation practices for like sleep and stress and anxiety. And you can like pick what you want. And it gives you like a time frame of like different sessions or different amounts. And sometimes I'll put them on like at night. And I agree, like I've found a few that I can connect with a little bit more. And then I found a few that I'm like, ooh, I need to turn this off because it's like making me think too much. Or like I just don't like the person's voice, or like whatever it is. It's like, yeah, you got to find something that works for you. That's a great like just YouTube idea too. Because that's where I found my restorative yoga is on this chick's YouTube channel. It's free. It's like she has like anywhere from 20 minutes to 45-minute sessions. And sometimes it's like 20 minutes is all you really need.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the
Headspace
bedtime
has,
stuff, I just do like 5-10 minutes, honestly.
You don't need very long. We usually just stretch like while we're watching like TV at the end of the night. We'll get down there and like do some stuff where we're just holding it and like breathing for a long time. But I've been meaning to like get into like a routine with it, and I've been the worst. But Riker actually got into listening to the Headspace app at night because they have Star Wars ones where there's sleepscapes. And so I had found them first and then was like, you're going to love this. And I mean, because his brain is like a carbon copy of mine, like the way we work, he'll have trouble like just turning things off at night to fall asleep. And I started listening to that, and they're great because my Star Wars knowledge is going to fail me right now, but I'm forgetting, what is the island that Luke is on that he goes to go run away to?
Run to Dagobah.
Well, Dagobah is the swamp where he is with
he hangs out with
Yoda. See, I think of the Star Wars rap when I think about that. Like, is it beautiful? Do you know about the Star Wars?
I forget where. It's the little island with the porgs where Rey goes and finds him. So they have a whole one about that. There's like a whole thing about Tatooine, and it's just like the wind or the waves crash over the rocks, and the porgs go into their home before bedtime, and they're like talking about like stuff like that, and they're just
I love that.
What is it?
Temple Island.
Why do I feel like they called it something different? I'm gonna have to look it up.
So it's Temple Island. So the actual name of the place, if that's what you're looking for, it's like Skellig Michael or something like that. It's in Ireland.
Oh, now I want to go there. So it's very cool, like the sleepscape thing. And what I like about it is like for your monkey brain who is just like bouncing around your head doing crazy shit all the time, it's something to like hand it and be like, pay attention to this. But it's nothing where you're learning something or you have to react to it or like really pay attention. It's just these descriptions of things, and like you can either hear like, you can hear speeders in the background of like the Tatooine one and like stuff like that. So you have like those fun things, but it like that has helped us like drift off to sleep a lot better. And like with meditations can come and go. Like I think it, like you said, it comes down to like the person a lot, like what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. I got it's called hypnobirthing. So it's like something you could do when you're pregnant to like work throughout the pregnancy and then also prepare for like labor with like doing the same things for like your thought process, your breathing and like things like that. And I found this woman, I don't think it's like the official hypnobirthing, but she's Australian. And I have all of hers, and I listen to those things even now, like not pregnant and stuff, because she has these wonderful meditations that are like, one of them, it's like something about I forget what she calls it. It's about like the colors, and it's like a rainbow. And you're laying there and you're supposed to imagine that like you're going through the different colors of the rainbow, and like imagine like how each one would feel, and like breathing each color in and like things like that. And it sounds really crazy, but like red is my favorite part of it. Like I can sit there and do that. Or like she has another one where you're on a beach and you're imagining like how the warm sand feels, and like the water coming up to your toes, and like things like that. And it's funny, like you said, how you can get ones where you have it like memorized, where I don't necessarily even need to listen to her doing it for me anymore. I can just lay down and like think about that stuff, and it works. And having that where whatever it is, like I've said before, we like listen to Star Trek as we drift off to sleep. Like I think getting into that routine, just like everything else we do, where you have like, a lot of us have foods that are routines, activities that are routine, like things like that. Our body just knows what's coming, can be so helpful with getting your brain to like, it's just like with a baby, like you're supposed to create sleep associations, like this bath time and this smell, and we eat at this point, and it's cold in this room, and we put on our pajamas and stuff like that. Adults need the same thing to tell your brain, like activate everything, like because like melatonin, everyone taking melatonin. The funny part with that is like that it like kicks the systems off, right? It's not meant to be like ZzzQuil where you take it and you're out. Like it like starts the whole sleep associations and the process of sleep. And so whatever it is that works for you, I think if there's something you routinely do before bed and it like goes positively with your circadian rhythm and your sleep schedule, then you just got to get into it and do it routinely, and it can help so much.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the routine. Like when we're talking about prioritizing sleep, recovery, and downtime, which is essential to progress. Like we started talking about like training when we're sick, but like just you have to have this give or take, right? Like in your fitness journey, like I mentioned before, it's not always more. It requires this step back and this recovery process in order for your body to continue to move forward, or else you're simply just going to get burnt out. Like that's what the like long game looks like, is who can't get burnt out, who can keep at it the longest. And you need to have that downtime. And so as much as we talk about, consistency in hitting your nutrition and hitting your training, it's also consistency in building these other like yin and yang. So this is like what? Yin. This is the yin part. The more restorative part. So building a sleep routine, and you don't have to do a whole lot of these things all off the bat. Like find something that works for you. If you like Star Wars, that thing sounds fucking awesome, right? But if you have a partner who's going to be in your bed and going to sleep at the same time as you, that's probably not going to, well, maybe it will work for you. I don't know. But even things like very simple things that I think we've mentioned on this podcast before, like when we're looking at sleep specifically and that wind down, turning your lights down low near the end of the day, using blue light blocking glasses. I always talk about like lighting a candle and getting all like chill and relaxed, like putting your phone away and not being on social media at minimum an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Even things like in my bedtime routine, I love like washing my face. I like just some good ass skincare, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I loved it. I hate washing my face so much. Maybe it's because my water is like always cold. Like we literally have ice water coming out of our faucets right now because it's 8 degrees outside. So, like,
oh yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that like in Texas I had to get more acclimated for, because in Canada all of the pipes are insulated. So like you would have hot water and it'd be fine, but like here it's like when it's hot outside, you don't get cold water here. Like it's anyways, but yeah, like just like washing your damn face, it's like something that you actually just enjoy to get yourself into that. And it's another habit that you have to build. And I know that it's like, oh my God, it's another habit. But yeah, it's a fucking habit that you have to build. Like you have to do it. if you want to if you want to progress, sorry, but it's just the name of the game.
If you're not willing to create new habits, then how are you ever going to change? If what you are doing is working, then stick with it. But if it's not, then you clearly have already identified the areas that need to change. Like, blue lights. So like blue light at nighttime is going to disrupt your sleep, but blue light during the day, it's shown that, hey, it can actually like increase your awareness. It can increase alertness. It can, it can just give you more energy. But at night, it does those exact same things. And because of that, now your body's not wanting to go to sleep. And like, you mean to tell me that for an $8 2-pack of blue light blockers on Amazon, I can improve my sleep? What's the harm in trying it? And a lot of my clients have said, I thought you were full of shit, but I put them on as soon as as the Kenny Chesney song goes, when the sun goes down, like just pop them on, man. Just oh, Christina's a Kenny fan. Okay.
I was actually just listening to Kenny Chesney Christmas music. It is my favorite Christmas album, and Vic hates it.
Okay.
Hates it. Because it's all about Christmas at the beach. And he just does not get it, having grown up in Chicago and Montreal and Denver. So he's always had snow at Christmas time. Being from San Diego, I am used to sundresses on Christmas. And
let me tell you.
You can't get used to it.
Let me tell you, don't sleep on Twisted Sister's Twisted Christmas album. It is amazing.
Oh, did you see the Eagles did a Christmas album?
Yes.
Really? Oh my God, I'm getting it.
Oh, wait, wrong Eagles. Wrong Eagles. You're thinking Eagles the band, which would be the rational thought process there.
Right.
I meant Eagles the football team.
Yep.
No, I was definitely thinking the Eagles. I was like,
Christmas songs.
Eagles
the band
Don
also
Henley.
has Christmas.
Yeah, you're like, oh, Don Henley and Steve Walsh, like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. Little welcome to Hotel Carol of the Bells. I don't know how they would do it, but probably something like that, right?
I'm a like old school Elvis Presley, Michael Bublé.
Like that classic.
Michael Bublé is not super old school, but like classic kind of and NSYNC.
And NSYNC. Vic loves gospel. Like the only time of year that he listens to like really intense gospel, and I can do it. Like it's just not what I'm used to. But the thing that kills me is there's one guy or like one like chorus or choir or whatever, where the guy has to yell back everything that they're saying, and that kills me. I can't do the like repetitive nature of those songs, and then they're always like 7 minutes long, and I have to be like,
so you're not listening to that at bedtime and getting all ramped up.
That gets me worked up and frustrated.
I was gonna say, so Christmas music at bedtime, or
I was too while I lift. This whole month I will listen to Christmas music while I work out.
Well, give Twisted Christmas a try on your next session. Trust me.
How did we end up here? Oh, Kenny Chesney. When the sun goes down,
put on the blue light.
Circle back. Yes, blue light blockers.
The blue light at night keeping you awake and just really disrupting sleep. Your body's ability to go to sleep. Your body's ability to stay asleep. It's going to have a lot of negative, risk associations with it. Higher risk for diabetes, higher risk for heart disease, higher risk for obesity. Right? Like, look. It creates this negative feedback loop, and like especially for a lot of guys where men produce their testosterone naturally at night while they're sleeping. So if you are not sleeping, your testosterone,
that when women produce it too.
So yes,
that's just like when it happens.
Yeah, but since like testosterone is the dominant hormone in men, if you're not getting to like those peak levels, like super moody, super irritable, admittedly, I could be wrong on this one, but I believe like the biggest impact on sleep with women is actually that cortisol levels raise. If sleep is low, cortisol gets much higher, and cortisol just starts to create its own negative feedback loop.
And then that cortisol curve starts to get all messed up. right? Because your cortisol, when it goes down, like your natural cortisol curve is supposed to go down at night, which allows you to relax and go to bed. And then it slowly actually ends up coming up like from the middle of the night. And then it actually wakes you up and it's at peak, like in the morning, which is, I mean, whatever. Anyways, which is why I'm not like, yeah, go fasted workout. Like, no, that's putting your body in a more stressed out state, eat something. But you know, that's not what we're talking about today. Although we can go into recovery, but it's fine. But yeah, I think with, yeah, like people don't also think about, like you touched on, those hormones that affect us when we're sleeping, like testosterone, like cortisol, like the human growth hormone. You want to build muscle, you need sleep. That's the time when growth hormone will spike in your, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. Like I'm telling all these facts that I believe are facts.
Just go.
But you know, like but you need sleep in order for those processes to occur. And if you're waking up, like, you know, if you're struggling and you wake up in the middle of the night, or you're waking up really early, or you are tired but wired at night when you're supposed to be going to bed, that's usually an indicator of your cortisol levels being off. And you need to like take some inventory of maybe lifestyle habits, you know, when you train, maybe overtraining, and that type of thing. And that goes back into the stepping back, right? And prioritizing downtime, because if you're just not getting sleep, and you're like, oh, I'm just go work out in the morning instead, and just because I'm up at 3 a.m. Okay, but like that's actually just continuing to dig the hole.
Right.
And
why are
your
you
hormones are, sorry, go ahead.
No, like look at why are you up at 3 a.m. That's like,
yeah,
that's where the number one thing, it shouldn't be like, oh, well, I'm up at 3 a.m. Let me go, you know, let me go work out. Let me go do cardio. Let me go, you know, just ramp my body's alertness up. Like, no, you should probably evaluate like, why are you like, so it's like the guy on TikTok that's a teacher where he's like always pretending to be like one of his students. Why are you up?
I got stuck in that for a really long time after having Ben. And
I thought you were gonna say like I got stuck on TikTok for a really long time.
No, I won't do. I will not do it. I will not go on TikTok. It's like my friends were picking on me for it the other day because they're like, you send us stuff that we saw like 3 months ago on TikTok and it just made it to Instagram. So why don't you just get TikTok so we can see stuff at the same time as you? And I was like, no.
Spoiler alert, everything on TikTok was probably on Reddit like 2 weeks ago.
I can't deal with this timeline, okay? No, after I had Ben, I got stuck in a they wound up diagnosing me with a circadian rhythm disorder, where I would wake up every single morning. It started at like 4:30, and that didn't bother me so much, like because I like having my morning time, especially with the kids and school drop-offs. It was like, it was nice to get my workouts done then so that the rest of the day I could focus on them. But then it started, and this was after Ben was like no longer breastfeeding. He was sleeping through the night. So I couldn't blame it on him. It started inching forward to where I was waking up like wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, like every single day. Wow. And it wasn't like, oh, I wish I could go back to sleep, like that kind of wake up. It was like, I would naturally be like, let's get the day going and like, just feel good. But the problem was that the second I would sit down to watch a TV show, like we would try to like relax at night, I was out at like 6:30 and there was no waking, like I was asleep. And so then I started missing out on like putting the kids to bed and like all of those kinds of things, because we generally watch TV in bed, which I know like you're not supposed to and like all that. But Vic would just get up and go put the kids to bed. And then I'd wake up the next morning and be like, shit, it happened again. And it went long enough that I went to my doctor about it and was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, even if I do push it to where I don't go to bed until like 9:30, I still wake up at 3 o'clock, like ready to go. And the only answer they had for me was to sit in front of one of those bright lights, like first thing in the, or no, at night. maybe. It was
Try to
weird
get you to
timing.
stay awake longer.
I can't remember. I think the light I was supposed to do at night. I bought one. It was so fucking bright. I couldn't do, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'd rather live my life this way than have to stare at this fucking light. And then the flip side of it was that they also wanted me to take melatonin first thing in the morning. Like when I woke up, take melatonin. And I was like, but I can't do that. Like I'm a stay-at-home mom with kids. And so there isn't an option with this. And circling all of this together, the funny part, how we've talked about like hormones and like the rhythms and like what happens to your body when sleep gets thrown off and like all of those things. It took getting pregnant with Claire, just happened to be a happy accident that it worked out this way, that like reset me. And I had gotten blood work done around the time that I was like trying to figure all of this out and like different things. And like my hormones were like pretty fucked up for like not being in anything crazy and stuff. And then this is just like my theory is that somehow that like regulated me again, like got me into a place where my body was like, okay, let's fix this for what we have going on. And thank God it hasn't happened again. Like now that because it was about this time after Ben, about 8 or 9 months that it started. And now that I'm there with Claire and she's sleeping through the night, I'm luckily like still sleeping until like 6 o'clock in the morning and then letting an alarm wake me up, which has been nice. But like that was the worst. And I went through like, is it anticipatory stress? Is it like all this different stuff, trying to think of what it could possibly be? And I mean, it can be so frustrating. And so like now, like I don't mess around when it comes to my bedtime and like my wake up routines, like trying to keep those in a good place, because we could talk about how it's going to mess up your muscle growth. It's going to mess up fat loss. It's going to mess up all of these like different things that as like a podcast focused on that stuff, like, yeah, it's important to us, but also it just messes up your day. It messes up how you feel as a human and like your attitude towards everything. You're going to
like you said, you were missing out on family time. Like that's huge.
Well, just being achy and like grumpy, like all of those different things, you're going to be at like, you'll be able to get sick more often, like all of that. And then now you're just living in this truly like bottomed out shit place where you're still forcing yourself to go to the gym because you feel like you should. You're like resentful of things because you just don't feel awesome. And so like putting that effort into trying to figure out like what is going on, or like if you're in a good place, do what you can to like hold on to it. And don't let that, like, don't take it for granted, because that sleep aspect covers so many different things. Like we plug in our phones at night, like you have to plug yourself in, like, get it done.
Well, and it's been funny because, like it's not, and you mentioned like the life stuff, because we've been talking about the health and fitness, and I've mentioned how like you can just, we as the health and fitness, you always feel like it's an on switch. You have to do all of these things and it's more, and it's not actually. But it's also, you know, if you're struggling with some of these things, you want to take an assessment of your life, right? It's not just how often are you working out, how often, you know, all of that stuff. Also, what you're intaking can help with recovery and sleep, right? Like if you're eating too late at night, or honestly, if you're eating shit food, and your body can't process those things, your digestion is going to suffer, your recovery is going to suffer. You're not going to get the most out of your downtime that your body may or may not require. But you also want to maybe like take a look at your life situation, your career, your relationships, the people that you surround yourself with, the community, and like the people that you talk to, and like what's going on there, and how much kind of, let's say, like stimulus that's giving you. And that's always that might be an indicator of, you know, maybe you do need to focus on some of these recovery aspects a little bit more. Giving yourself an added rest day. Instead of training 6 days a week, train 5 or 4. 4 is actually great.
4 is my favorite.
4 days is absolutely my favorite. People like when I talk to people on the phone, they're like, "Oh, I can work out like 6-7 days." I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't want you to work out." I would say like 4 is fine.
Right? How do you divide that up for 4, like for yourself? Because I like to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and then Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend off.
That's what I do. And so my Monday and Tuesday are usually like a lower upper, like it's kind of a lower upper split. I'm focused more on like kind of bodybuilding stuff. So like it's like delts, or glute, shoulders, and then like back or like pull day. But generally it's a little bit more higher intensity, and then a rest day, and then a little bit more focused onto the kind of hypertrophy side. So even though like intensity is intensity, right? But yeah, and then I have Saturday and Sunday off usually. But if I feel like I'm recovered enough, and like a lot of my competitors and a lot of my like lifestyle clients that I program for, I'll program a 4-day-a-week split, but then on the Sunday I'll be like, hey, you can either rest or you can repeat. So you can technically have 5 in a week if you feel recovered enough, right? And then you just start the 4 time a week, but on the Sunday, and then it's like pulled or pushed forward, I guess. But a lot of them take the weekend, and like a lot of them are thriving. And I've actually changed some of my clients' programmings from 5 days to 4 days, because of the holidays. There's a lot of stress going on. Some clients are starting like school in the new year, like that type of thing. And it's just, hey, you're actually going to need a little bit more time to focus on other things. That doesn't mean that your health and fitness goals are going by the wayside. In fact, you're making sure that you're supporting your health and fitness goals as well as your other life stuff.
With a better schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's something that's not, addressed often is like you also have a life, like or life doesn't stop just because you have health and fitness goals.
Right. Like fitness should be enriching your life, not taking away from your ability to, be a mom or a dad, or be a husband or a wife, or, if you're into like some type of club, or you like, doing some type of like music lesson or dance lesson or whatever, like fitness should just enrich you and make you better at those things, and, not be detracting away from it. So like a lot of people are like, yeah, I can train 6-7 days a week. I've got the time for it. Like, okay, well, great that you've got the time for it, but let's look at a couple of different things. Number one, there is the principle of maximal recoverable volume. How much volume can you also handle in a time period and actually recover from? Because you do reach a point of diminishing returns where, look, you're doing just so much volume that it's what we call junk volume, in slang, or diminishing returns. Like you're not letting your body recover. So you're, think of it like a cup. If I fill my cup to the top every single time, then every time that I go to drink from that cup, it's full. But if I've got a small little leak at the bottom of it, I'm going to have to keep refilling it, but it's going to keep going down. So with the recovery side of things, like a lot of times I have to break people away from even doing like the training week within 7 days. Like your training week doesn't have to fall in line with the calendar week, is
That's
like
right.
another abstract concept that like I'll put into people's training programs. So like somebody that likes to train on a push-pull legs, and they like having strength focused days, they like having hypertrophy focused days. Look, let's just take it as, maybe 2 on, 1 off, or 3 on, 1 off, something like that. So that you're not training, trying to get in all 6 workouts in 7 days. You're trying to get in all 6 workouts over the span of like 8 or 9 days. And even with like 4-day-a-week, a lot of times, I'll just say, look, why don't we just run it as every other day? So especially if somebody's like new to 4 days a week, like if they're going up from 2 or 3 days to 4 days, like, hey, let's just do every other day. So that way you still have good recovery. You still have plenty of time. Cause like if, and I do a lot of upper lower splits on 4-day-a-week programs, unless somebody has something that they specifically like to focus on. Like a lot of guys want a second like chest day or a second arm day, or, a lot of my female clients want a dedicated glute day or a dedicated shoulder day. It's like, all right, well, if we're training lower on Monday, we're resting Tuesday, we're training Wednesday, we're resting Thursday, we're training lower again on Friday. Guess what? Your legs are fully recovered as long as we didn't train past MRV, maximal recoverable volume. And now you're going to have a better hypertrophy workout. So let's do that. And big deal. Like Monday is no longer a set training day out of the week. It's like Monday has to be chest day or Monday has to be leg day. Like just view it as the next workout on deck, next training session up.
Right.
And like, especially breaking away from that for a lot of my guys where like, yeah, on Mondays it's chest day. Yeah, for 90% of the rest of your gym,
all
it's
the benches are
day.
taken.
Right. Like, dude, look over there and notice how the leg press is actually open today, but then you're going to bitch about tomorrow it's taken up and so's the hack squat. Yeah, because everyone's training legs on Tuesday. Like, go enjoy your workout and just do something that no one else is doing. Stop thinking about everything has to be done in a 7 days time span. Like, break that concept, right? Like, even our calendar like doesn't make sense. Like okay, October. What does the word oct equate to in terms of numbers?
8.
8. Okay, so October, yes, the 10th month. Like, none of it makes any damn sense anyways. All right, like December, Deca.
Oh, in September
Sept,
is
7,
the 9th.
9. Nov, November should be 9th. Yes, the 11th month. So, like, what I'm saying is, if
Who fucked this?
Everybody's brains are blown right now.
It was
listening
April,
to this.
huh? I bet adding in April was why.
because
They were like, let's just
April
throw
fucked
it
it
in the
up.
4th.
so yes, April 1st actually like used to kind of be the new year ish. Like okay, I can go into like full on history nerd, but like you think about it, it's the beginning of like spring and everything, and like winter is now gone. Like start a new year, like, but we don't do that. And
You're
again,
onto something with this
like
2-month shift now.
Yep.
This is going to bug me with September, October, November, December should clearly be shifted 2 months forward. And I see where you're
imagine
going.
New Year's, celebrating New Year's when it's slightly warm out. Like that would be lovely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like now I could go sleeveless on my on my suits. Like that'd be epic. Just
My first New Year's with Vic, he took me to Breckenridge, and we walked to go to the bar, and it was -40.
Nope.
Whoa.
What was the wind chill?
Well,
-40.
but like, and then I'm like, wait, Celsius, but then at like it's like
34.
-32 it's the same.
Yeah.
So it's what it is it's just fucking cold.
It was fucking cold. It was so terrible. And we got to the first place, and him and his sister, it was a cover of like $40 per person or something like that. And they were like, what? No, we'll go somewhere else. And I was like, fuck, we will. Covers on Christina. I am not walking out of this bar.
No more walking.
I
have a question. Do you guys have anything that you like tell your clients to do in terms of recovery, or is it all very client dependent, or is there like a blanket thing that you recommend that they all do, or is it just like?
So I've got like a list of things I've found to be 1, practical, and 2, beneficial, because that's what I ultimately want things to like there needs to be good intersection of what's practical versus what's going to also benefit us the most. Like, so it depends on the person. I don't have time to necessarily sit and do an Epsom salt bath. So for me, that's not something that I do. I also don't really like baths. It's just like because I grew up watching Seinfeld, so I always just think back to like, you're literally sitting in your own filth. Like I would much rather just like, hey, let me have a few minutes to meditate. Like meditation, something I'm big on. I do like Epsom salt baths for people that 1, enjoy them, 2, that have the I was like, you got to have a tub, right? If I'm working with somebody that's in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment with a stand-up walk-in shower, okay, you're gonna look kind of weird if you go down to like your community pool hot tub and like just start dumping in Epsom salts, and your pool guy's gonna be pissed at you.
This is good for all of you, trust me.
Yeah. Like, so little things like that. I'm also just a big fan of like cold showers for restoration.
Cold hot showers.
Yep. Like
cold hot showers are like the shit. When I trained my athletes, well, they wouldn't have cold hot showers. There was a cold shower and then there was a hot tub, and I would make them alternate between the hot tub and then the shower. Yeah, it sucks, but it's a good one. For sure.
Quick theory on this. So we just watched Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, which if you haven't watched it, it's on Disney Plus or Discovery Plus, or like they're all a thing now.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. He goes through like, I think it's like 8 episodes long, and each one he's doing like this different stuff to try and live longer and like be in shape and like all these
I like it.
It's very cool. They do a whole episode on extreme temperatures and
like cold exposure.
Well, so yeah, they go to fucking like Norway, and he swims like 200 meters in like the icy water, and it's like in his body like gets all sad and everything. But he
Hang on, meters. What's 200 meters in freedom units?
In freedom units, far when you're swimming in Norway. And so they have that, and they have the hot tub, and they go into like sauna use, and it goes into like the science behind like why your body benefits from the extreme temperatures and all that. So Vic has wanted to get the cold plunge tub thing. I told him to start with a shower. Like you could do that. And here's my issue, but my theory is that it's still valid if I were to do this. Okay. So like every night I take a hot shower because I'm always cold, and it's just part of my routine now, because a hot shower before bed helps activate your body's natural cooling systems, which also helps put you to sleep, and you'll sleep deeper. Now, if I were to end my hot shower with a blast of cold, I would have to start the process over again, because now I'm cold and I can't go to sleep. So can I do this miserable 30 seconds of frozen hell at the beginning and get the same benefit? Because it's just the time, right? It's the time. I can go cold and then hot, and I still get.
So what I tell people when they're doing like hot cold is to end with hot, because like
who wants to live that
don't
life?
Hate your life and end with a cold shower,
right?
Because it just helps with blood flow. Like that's what the cold hot is. Cold exposure, like getting a cold plunge, is very different than doing hot cold. Cold exposure is like regulating your like central nervous system and like breath work and all of that. So I don't think it would work the same way. But Huberman Lab does an excellent podcast on this, on cold exposure and shit, where he goes like super deep into it and what are the benefits, like would it still work if I did it this way, etc. But like I think for your benefits of wanting to go to bed and like you're doing it later at night, I think for your benefits, you would more benefit from ending with a warm shower because of what you're specifically wanting. Whereas like me, when I took a shower an hour and a half ago, I finished with a cold rinse because it just like wakes me up. I actually love it. And it's better for your hair and skin. And that is also great.
Yeah. And also like, again, like for men, cold showers can increase your natural testosterone production. Can
your balls also don't go all the way down to the floor.
Right. No.
They don't like to be really hot.
So
just saying.
I mean, you ain't wrong, but like what I tell people with the cold hot shower is just end with your personal preference. Again, like I'm in Florida, it's the world's sticky swamp. So like even right now, like I think whenever I was outside right before we started this, like I took a picture and sent it to one of my clients in Alaska, and 85 degrees and the feels like is 92. So
I took this for you guys this morning.
Like there's a number missing on your thermostat there, Christina.
Ooh,
am I in the
my cold exposure today? I'm to watch
in the temperate situation. Being in Texas, it's like 60 here today.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know what any of that is like. It is just miserable and humid. But then like we're one good cold front away from it being like perfect for 4 months, so I'll take it. But like, okay, it's it's hot here for the majority of the year. I end with cold, especially if I'm showering like during the day or early in the morning. Like I'm going to end with cold because I want to be cooled off. If I'm doing it at night though, like yeah, I do want to feel that like warmth. So like I'll end with a warm cycle instead of a cold cycle. Yeah, it's just I tell people just go with your personal preference.
Yeah,
And then,
I don't really give like a blanket statement for recovery for my athletes either. I'm like, cool down properly. Like I tell them unless we're in, and usually even if we are in a fat loss phase, when I'm writing a program for anybody, I'm like, I want you to take a full rest day. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean sit on your ass all day, but that means you are not lifting, you are not doing cardio. I would prefer for you to take a full rest day. Um,
Yeah, go for a walk. Take care of like
yeah,
household chores. Like, I
go
gotta
for a
paint.
walk, clean your house.
but sometimes
Um,
I have to tell people, I have one client who is like very like just driven with everything. Like her kids are super driven and high in activities. She's constantly got stuff going on and stuff. And with her competitive season this summer, I had to give her like sloth days and be like, we are not going for walks. This is not the day for vacuuming.
yeah,
You're
I've
going to
done that
lay
too.
down.
I've given clients like, you can't get over this many steps today.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, over 20,000 steps. We need to figure that out. We're not doing that
Right.
many.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you have to watch movies today. Like that's what it is. You're gonna lay in bed and you're gonna watch TV, and that's all the movement. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
But I
I've
think
got
sometimes
a
people need that.
I've got a
it's
client that he works in a hospital. So I mean on his there are days that he's getting 18,000, 20,000 steps just at work. And it's
easy.
like, hey, Josh, when you get home, just because luckily he's a big hockey fan like me. I'm like, just watch all the games, man. Just like get home,
Yeah.
put on hockey,
Yeah.
just enjoy it. Like
And I
proper.
think that that's where it really, right? Like we're talking about some general ideas that everybody can do, but like it is very person dependent because maybe you work in a hospital and you're a nurse. Or maybe you work in a desk. Like your needs and requirements for recovery and the way in which that recovery looks is very different, especially also if you are a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids or somebody who works a very high stress, they work 10-hour days, right? Like your needs are going to look different. But
Mm.
what we are really talking about here is you must prioritize these things. I almost like a lot of my clients, they're like, oh, I'll get up early to go do cardio. I'm like, okay, well, how much earlier? Can we fit this in somewhere else? Can we just maybe get more steps in the day? Because again, it's like, well, if you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep, I would prefer you to get 7 hours. Yes, there is always an exception to the rule, but like if you don't prioritize these recovery aspects, you are simply just not going to progress. You're going to continue to like run on that hamster wheel and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to be wondering why nothing is working for you. But that's because you're not trying some of the things that allows you to pull back, and it can be scary. But like it's necessary.
Yeah, like you got to know when to push, when to pull. Like there's an appropriate time to go hard and there's an appropriate time to dial it back. Like, hey, if like okay, I've got another client that he's currently training. He wants to through hike the Appalachian Trail. Like that's 2,100 miles that he wants to do. He's got like 3.5 or 4 months to do it for next year, where he's got time off from work. So it's like, hey, for him, you want to know what my number one priority with recovery is his feet. So like he has dedicated like 15 minutes a day where at the end of the day, he is laying on the floor with his feet up on the couch, just resting. So he can get that blood flowing out of there and he can just help to control some of that inflammation in his feet. Because last thing he needs is going to be developing plantar fasciitis while just getting used to carrying pack weight on his back. Again, it's about recovery. It's about just knowing the individual, knowing their goals. Like if your goal is to be a power lifter, you have to rest those muscles as intentionally as what you train them. If you're trying to go on a bodybuilding stage and win a pro card, same thing. You've got to rest as intentional as your training is. And people overlook recovery, people overlook sleep, people overlook the other aspects of their life, like that downtime. If you're somebody that enjoys painting and suddenly, your goal of getting on a bodybuilding stage, or your goal of, doing a photo shoot this summer in a bikini, or, with your shirt off or whatever, like if that goal now suddenly takes away that time, and you've been painting since you were 4 and you've not had painting in your life for the first time in 20-25 years, you're probably going to be miserable, and you're going to start to hate it, and you're going to be resentful of exercise. You're going to be resentful of, I've got to track all these damn macros, and I've got to weigh all this food, and I've got to do all this prep, and I'd love to be able to just go through a drive-through and have time to paint, but no, I've got to meal prep the next 5 days worth of protein. Like, again, fitness should improve your life. It should add to it. It should make everything better. But
yeah, absolutely,
you're getting shit recovery and you're getting injured all the time, or you're spending so much time on the treadmill that you feel like a hamster and you can't paint or play music or hell, play video games. Is it really?
Yeah, and like, sorry, we're like, there's going to be a time to grind as well, right? Like
Yeah.
if you have a serious goal, like a bodybuilding, like getting on the bodybuilding stage, or you just want to lose weight, and it's like a very, like, I get that, and there is that time. But also, even my clients who are in prep, I'm like, my job as your coach is to manage your recovery, because if we're not managing your recovery, you're not going to progress. So, like, yeah, you have to do cardio. Yeah, you have to eat less. Those are all stressors to the body. You still have to train. You still have to live your life, whatever that is. But you're not going to see that progress unless you're maybe getting the necessary body work that you need to do. You're not drinking your water. You're not making sure that you are sleeping, that you're just like chilling out, that you're not eating like shit. Like, it doesn't matter that if you're hitting your macros, if you're eating shit food, well, that's also going to limit your recovery, right? Like, there's a lot of these aspects here that, you just need to prioritize and take care of. And a lot of it does come down to that mentality piece, and feeling like you are not just stuck in this grind forever. It's managing also your life and finding joy outside of that health and fitness, and still finding time to laugh and play with your kids, or play with your dog, or do your hobbies, or whatever that is. That's going to bring you joy, and that's going to continue to help breed this like personal development journey that you are going on in your health and fitness journey. That's part of recovery and downtime. That's necessary for you to continue to show up and hit your protocols of whatever you need to do as well, because you feel fulfilled at a higher level.
Well, this is the lifestyle series of the podcast, right? Like, it's supposed to be about establishing a lifestyle and making this the way we live and stuff. And to reference Star Trek, the Enterprise can go at warp 9, but they don't ever have it go warp 9 all the time. And there's a lot of times they'll call out, we're going to go somewhere, we're going to go warp 8, we're not going at warp 9. And that's because warp 9 will fuck the ship up if they do it routinely. If you push anything that you're doing to its absolute limits nonstop, you're going to end up having to do more maintenance. Things are going to break, and then you're going to have to park, and you're going to have to sit and wait while you fix things that you've broken and stuff like that. Like, so you have to find that road where you can push yourself but also recover at the same time. And one of the things you said, Jess, I've heard people will use a lot, where they'll be like, well, I like working out twice a day, 7 days a week, because it makes me feel better. And I go and I get massages every week, and so that makes up for it. No, it doesn't. Like,
do you really like working out 2 times a day and doing cardio? No, you don't.
Right.
No, you
or
don't.
you like fearful of something. And so
yes, exactly.
like, you have to like it, if we're looking at it being a lifestyle and we want it to promote capability, we want it to promote longevity, we want to promote joy and feeling good and all those kinds of things, you have to take those dedicated spaces in your life and give it to the other things if you want to keep doing stuff continuously. Like, you have to have the rest and the recovery. You have to charge your own batteries fully, and then maybe not drain it all the way. We know this about so many other things in our lives, like how you can completely destroy like your iPhone battery with like bad practices,
or Android.
It even has perfect charging capabilities, right? Where like my 3 a.m. is when it's like, ooh, we're going to do the real charging now. And like, it's like the same thing with your sleep cycles. And like, you have to look at all of that same stuff. If you give that respect to other things in your life and say, I'm going to treat this thing I put money into well, because I want to have my leather purse longer, I'm going to take care of it or whatever, then do the same thing to you. Like, you get one you, and we get to be like, today
take care of that
is
leather
the
purse
last
body.
time I'll be What? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Today's the last time I'll be 35 on November 30th. Right. And I want to like make it a good one. Like, I won't get to do this again. And like, so looking at it that way with like, how can I just treat myself best? Some days it's going to be that push and it's going to be that grind, but hopefully tomorrow you're going to then give your body that space to get ready for the next grind day, because you will not successfully grind hard every single day. You won't. Won't be as good.
You got to listen to your internal Scotty, and whenever he says she cannot take much more of this, Captain, you got to listen.
Exactly.
You got to listen. No, and for
That's
those
a great mic drop.
For those Star Wars fans, by the way, the equivalent to Warp 9 would be if you were trying to make the jump to hyperspace.
I still don't.
It
still doesn't relate.
That's because we're going to give you homework, and your homework is going to be to sit down and watch all of them.
I feel like you ended that so nicely.
That was
with
really
a caring aggression piece.
That's me.
Yeah,
aggression.
Me too. Assertive.
I aggressively care for you.
Yeah,
that's mom
me.
is aggressive.
Me too. I will aggressively care for you. That's right.
All right. Well, how about this with can we end with my dad joke of the week?
Oh my gosh, yes.
What do you call a man laying in a pile of leaves with no arms and no legs? Russell.
Quadriplegic.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, that was a very genuine laugh for me. That was very, because I know the one that's like, what do you call a guy in the water with no arms and no legs? It's Bob. And I always remember it's Bob because it's Bob. I love that. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Bob.
I think that might have been one of my best ones.
I see this like shell of a human like doing this in a pile of leaves. Really like,
right.
Oh my God. Anyways, morbid but funny. It's enjoyable.
Yes, I dig it. All right, friends. Well, until next time, you know the drill. Go give us, if you could, we'd love it if you gave us a nice little rating. Share it with a friend who's doing too much and who needs to rest a little bit, so that we can start off the holiday season and the new year upcoming. We got all sorts of cool things going on with Pro Physique in the new year. Not to mention the transformation challenge, which I'm fairly certain they can sign up already, right? Like, that's already happened.
Yep. So enrollment is completely open. This year we're doing something new, so you can still do your standard entry, and you're going to receive all sorts of meal plans. You're going to receive multiple days per caloric goal. We also have vegan friendly meal plans as well to teach you flexible dieting, to show you that hitting your macros isn't all chicken, rice, and broccoli. We also have different workout programs geared towards men and women for different goals. For commercial gym, for home gym, we have a body weight only routine, and we also have a introductory, like true novice beginner program that's just 3 days a week. In addition to that, you're going to be getting access to the private Facebook group where some of our coaches will come in, do weekly live Q&As. And you're going to get a great community out of it. I mean, I see each and every year friendships get made on there that, it's cool to follow along some of these people on Instagram and like, oh, hey, it turns out somebody else from the challenge goes to the same gym they do. And now they're workout buddies. Like, it's been so cool to see that kind of stuff happen. And keep in mind, it's not just like a weight loss challenge or anything like that. Like, we want to see how does your life change in 90 days. We had one woman this past go around that her diabetes was starting to impact her vision, and just by eating more protein and exercising, her vision has actually started to improve. So it's cool to see that kind of an impact being made in people's lives.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. We're always trying to be a little bit bigger and a little bit better each and every time. And we're back to having $50,000 because it is our January challenge. So lots of prize money. We also have the option for guided coaching. So if you're kind of curious about what coaching would look like if you chose to work with a Pro Physique coach, this gives you the opportunity to not only enter into the transformation challenge, but you'll be receiving bi-weekly check-ins. Each one of us is available as an option. So if you've kind of been curious, like, hey, what's it like to have Jess as my coach, or Christina, or your favorite bald, terrible dad joke teller, me, you can absolutely sign up, and we're going to help you out with your macros, help you out with your cardio, be able to answer questions you have, that sort of stuff. So head over to prophysique.com. It's going to be under the events tab, and you can go ahead and enroll in the transformation challenge for January 2023.
Woo.
Yes, love it. Let's end it there. That's your call to action. Go sign up and get it done, because the community aspect of it cannot be beat. Like, scrolling through everything that everyone has to say to each other on the Facebook page. And, people, I love that it becomes that safe space for people to go and say, like, this thing is hard. Like, the best ones is if you go to the comment sections of somebody saying, all right, I've got to quit. Like, the rest of you have fun, but I've had to quit because this thing happened in my life and I can't do this anymore. And you'll see there's like 180 comments of people being like, hell no, you're not quitting. This is why you're so tough. You could do this. This is how you can pivot. And like all of that going on in there. It's beautiful.
It's the community
it's
for me.
wonderful.
I agree. It's so nice.
Yep. I dig it. All right, friends. Well, go sign up, and we'll talk to you soon on our next podcast.
Bye.
Bye. Stay sexy, stay hungry, and go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Yes.